Hello, welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. My name is Karina Bibatyreva, and I'm a postgraduate student at Warwick Business School studying Management of Information Systems and Digital Innovation. Today, I'm excited to be having a discussion about tech and tech careers with Hoda Nasseri, Cyber Defense Manager. Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and Girls in ICT Day 2021. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. The objective of Girls in ICT Day are to help to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studies and careers in a growing field of information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the International Telecommunication Union, UN International Computing Center, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth. So, hello, Ms. Hoda Nasseri.
Hi, Karina.
My first question for you is, when and how did you get into technology?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So I had a long journey and winding journey to from where I started my undergrad studies until now that I've been working in the IT field for many years. My undergrad was actually in the field of textile engineering, and we had a lot of, so it didn't have anything to do with ICT, and we studied a lot of courses in chemistry and physics, math, and we were learning about how to manufacture and process and print fiber, fabric, etc. So when I was studying, in that field, I had a feeling that it was kind of a 20th century field, and I was seeing how ICT was shaping our everyday world, and so I even in this first job that I got as a junior textile engineer right after graduation, I didn't have a computer at my desk, so I was spending most of my time, in manufacturing lines and helping organizations to uh, improve their manufacturing processes. So I felt like this is not something that's this is far from what's happening, although it's very essential in our everyday lives. But I mean, it's something that's not shaping the future. So I did some research at the time, and I managed to change my major to IT management for my master's. So that was my first formal exposure to ICT, and that's where my uh, journey in the ICT sector actually began. So when I was studying in that field, we had many courses about information systems design, life cycle, and database development. Also, a lot of MBA courses. So I was also working at the same time, and when I was doing my master's thesis, I applied for a job in information systems implementation in a very good company. So the interview that I did was very challenging and demanding. So I was interviewed by a group of 5 executives, and they challenged my experience in the field of ICT a lot. So they asked a lot of questions about some projects that I did in managing a company's websites during my masters, and I mean, it was a long interview, and eventually I did well and I got hired. So later on, when I was talking to my manager, he was telling me that the executives of the company were asking him, why are you hiring a textile engineer for as an information systems analyst? And he told them that I know who I'm hiring. She's studying ICT. She hasn't graduated yet from her master's, but I mean, she has the potential, etc. So I worked in that organization for years. I finished my master's. I got a ton of experience in the field of information system implementation, like ERP systems implementation, and how to deal with technical as well as non-technical users, etc. And then I managed to also, uh, you know, get an admission for a graduate program in business IT. And I, after working that company for years, I moved to Canada and started doing, research and teaching in the field of IT business to kind of experience the academic side of it as well. And so this was how my journey started. And then after years of being in academia, I switched back to the world of consulting and industry again in the field of cybersecurity this time. And yeah, 4 years in now, I'm a cyber defense manager, and I'm really enjoying this field.
Oh, that's a really interesting story and a really diverse background you have. I also feel like our story are a little bit similar from the beginning because for my bachelor's degree, I was studying shipping and logistics. So it wasn't connecting with ICT as well. But then during my internship, I was working with ERP system. I was working with warehouse management systems, so I got really curious about ICTs, and I did my dissertation about digitalization of like shipbroking processes. So I got really curious about all of these technology things, and then I also applied for masters in management of information systems.
Oh, yeah, this is very, very fascinating. So yeah, I kind of see that you're kind of at a similar road to me. So I mean, you've changed your masters to ICT, and yeah, that's great. So what about your future plans? Do you have anything in mind? How are you gonna continue your journey in the field of ICT and digitalization?
Yes, so now I'm doing my master's still, and after that, I'm planning to go into tech industry, tech consulting. I'm really doing consulting technology, so I'm taking extra courses also apart from my master's degree in order to build up my knowledge and prosper in this new field. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, also I think it's a great way to have an internship in technology in ICT. I hope it will help me to get a dream job.
Yeah, sure it will.
Yeah. So could you please tell us about your job in tech now? So maybe your daily responsibilities.
What I'm doing right now is focused mostly on two areas of cybersecurity. One of them is cyber threat intelligence. So we are helping organizations, our clients, to find out about the cyber threats that are out there, and we help them with recommendations to protect themselves against those cyber threats. So examples of cyber threats can be phishing emails. I think
Mm.
you have received these messages or emails that are trying to impersonate other legitimate um, organizations, companies, etc., to ask for example, user and password to use them for some purposes and get benefit from it. That's one example. Another example is the threat of malware and ransomware. For example, that's a prominent threat for organizations nowadays. So we're helping our clients to find out about these threats, monitoring the internet for them, as well as dark web and underground forums, and let them know about the emerging threats. So for example, what's the newest ransomware or phishing campaigns that's relevant to their industry, etc. This is one of the things that I do, and the other part of my job is focused on cyber risks and controls. So I help to identify risks related to cybersecurity, vulnerabilities, and develop mitigative, strategies as well as controls to kind of deal with this risk and minimize them to, protect organizations. If I want to let you know about my daily activities, well, I'm a knowledge worker, so at my computer all day, and what I do, I attend in a lot of meetings nowadays, just remote calls with clients, with my colleagues. So we discuss the problems at hand, and we also create a lot of documentation and reports, and many of those reports are for our clients' information. So we present those reports to them about our findings, for example, about the vulnerabilities, threats in their environment, and we discuss recommendations and actions that can take, and how they can improve themselves.
Yes, I think cybersecurity is really interesting topic in ICT. I personally have a class in cybersecurity, so I think this field is now growing with the pandemic situation when everyone switched more to the remote working. So I think cybersecurity is quite relevant in today's world.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yeah, that's exactly the case.
Yeah. So, what skills would you recommend to students to acquire now to be successful in the field of cybersecurity?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, in terms of the skills, I can think of both soft skills and technical skills. So, soft skills, skills that I found super relevant and helpful, is problem solving skills. So, for example, as a new hire, when they ask you to create a query in a system, or develop for example a feature for a client, or when there's something is going wrong, something, a system, a software tool is not functioning well, and you need to make it work, you need to find out what's going wrong. How are you going to approach this problem? My suggestion is to have a very systematic approach to problem solving. Learn how to define a problem, how to uh, develop, a step-by-step methodology to solve that problem, and then verify your solution. For example, if you try one, so where are you going to start? If you tried this solution and it didn't work, what's the next one? So have a systematic, approach in your mind. That's going to be super helpful, and uh, it's going to help you progress, and people are going to have a lot of respect for you if they see that you're a good problem solver. The other area that I find super useful, another soft skills, is writing skills and communication skills. So my suggestion and recommendation for students is to work on their writing skills, to be able to write very clearly and professionally, as well as working on their presentation skills. They should be able to explain technical problems and complicated problems to non-technical audience very clearly, because in the IT world, as well as cybersecurity, there are a lot of non-technical people. You're dealing with, for example, managers, higher level executive, as well as some users, that are not in the IT department, or they're not cybersecurity aware at all. So you should be able to get their requirements and translate them to, technical language. In terms of technical skills, it really depends on what area you're focused on. So maybe I can talk about the cybersecurity a little bit. Cybersecurity is also very diverse, and there are different areas that you can get into. However, I'm thinking coding skills and development skills is a necessary skill. You're not a developer. Just knowing what an algorithm is and knowing some basics of programming is going to be super helpful, because nowadays artificial intelligence is being embedded in everything. And even if you're not coding, you may need to still understand codes. I mean, it's going to be super helpful if you have that skill, and you're going to be able to take on, extra responsibilities and get into some interesting fields. Another technical skill that I can think of, again, this is very relevant for cybersecurity, is computer networking. So nowadays you hear about Internet of Things a lot. So everything around us is being connected to internet. Your fridge, your stove, even if they're not connected yet, they're gonna be connected to internet in the near future. So I mean, knowing the basics, how the networks work, and the for example, communication protocols in the networks, etc., is going to be very helpful, especially in the field of cybersecurity. And this is just, one of the basics of cybersecurity, to be able to understand how cyber attacks happen and, how to detect them. And the last area that is, I can say it's kind of a technical skill, or in the middle of technical and soft skills, is software development methodologies, or IT project management methodologies. Knowing what a agile methodology is, Scrum, DevOps. So even if you're not working in an organization that are have adopted agile methodology, it is still very useful. It's going to help you have a structured approach in managing the projects that are involved in, and just it's going to help you to be organized and multitask and get results, and manage your schedule, cost, etc., anything that is involved in that project. So I think that's another basic skill that is going to be very helpful to the people who are getting into the ICT field.
Yeah, I think what you said, it's everything is very useful for us girls who are just studying their degrees. And I think you mentioned some skills which we are taught in a Warwick Business School for Management of Information Systems. So coding skills is one of the skills that we are taught. So we are learning Python, R,
Nice.
introductory level. Yes, and I'm always hearing about agile approach. So I think this is something everyone should know about, and it's very important to develop the skills you mentioned before. So this is a tip for people who are going to have an interview in ICT field. So if someone asks you what skills do you have, this is the one probably should mention.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
So, do you have any activities beyond your jobs that you would like to tell us about?
Sure. I'm also doing mentorship for people who are just getting into they're just trying to get into the cybersecurity field. Uh, Especially, I've been focused on new immigrants to Canada who are trying to get they've been experienced in their country, and they have very good skills. They're just trying to get a good job that matches their skills in the Canadian job market. I find this activity very rewarding, because you can learn a lot. Their perspective is a bit different from you, and they are there where I was, years ago. So that's interesting. It kind of help me to reflect on how I'm progressing in my career, and also at the time that I was just looking for a job, or I was just new in the ICT field. There were many great professors or colleagues or managers or leaders that helped me a lot. Even now I'm getting a lot of mentorship from great leaders, so it feels like this is although I don't have anything for the people who mentored me at the time, because they're way ahead of me in their career, I still have something to give back to other people who are just getting into this field. Another activity that I really enjoy to do is hiking. So since I'm working at my computer at my desk all day during the weeks, hiking activities and other types of outdoor activities uh, help me to just get out of screen, get away from the screen, and connect with nature and calm down my mind. So I really enjoy this activity even during winter time, and it's still very interesting. And every time that I go out, I discover something new. I see interesting birds or wildlife, etc. Yeah. So what about you, Karina? What do you do beside your studies?
Yeah, I think it's very important to maintain work-life balance. And
Right.
so, besides my master's degree, I also try to do some sports. So currently I'm in Kazakhstan, so sports facilities are open here.
Nice.
So every day I'm going to the gym to do some exercises. And I think sport really helps to keep my mind quiet, really relax, helps to focus on my studies. So besides sport activities, I also like to hiking.
Nice.
Uh, so not very often, but I really enjoy it. When I finish my hike, I feel some kind of achievement that I achieved something. So it's really great feeling to have. And besides this, I also do some volunteering activities. So I help little kids uh, to learn English. So when I did my bachelor's degree, I helped um, students from mainland China to learn English. So now in Kazakhstan, I'm also practicing little kids to teach them to learn English and encourage them to do so.
That's awesome.
Yes, so I think it's very important not only to work but also to have some hobbies or do some volunteering activities. And
Yeah.
the great way that you do mentoring is that it's amazing that people can learn from such an experienced person like you, and it's really great opportunity, I think.
Yeah, thank you. I know I really appreciate your perspective. Yeah, I think it's very important to have fun. You know, wherever you're working, you definitely should have a lot of fun as well. Yes.
What do you like best about your job in technology?
I feel like I'm at the forefront of change in the world, and I'm uh, helping individuals and organizations to adopt technologies in a responsible and mindful way. And I have the opportunity to help them to uh, deal with, you know, privacy and security concerns around technology, and the risks that are, because when you're adopting a new technology, it's coming, although it's coming with a lot of great things, there are some risks associated with that as well. In the world that we're living now, security and also privacy risks are real and present. So I can help organization to deal with these risks, and also unintended consequences of technology. So I find this very interesting and fascinating, uh, because I think I can have a role in having control on how we're uh, letting ICT technologies to shape our worlds. Yeah, I'd say this is the most interesting and rewarding aspect of my job.
Yeah, that's really nice. I think that in technology, it's good that you technology can help not only like organization, business, but also people to improve their life.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
now during COVID time.
Yes, that's right. So, what about you? What aspect of ICT technologies do you find most interesting?
So I think about ICT, I really enjoy that it's a really fast changing environment where you need to upgrade your skills every time. You need to learn a lot. And I find it's quite interesting when people are trying to upskill themselves every time. And I really love learning. I really love studying. I enjoy knowing something new, discover some new aspects of technology. And every class we are having new case studies where I always tend to learn something new. And I think like it's really amazing. Also, as was mentioned before, I'm fascinated how technology can change not only businesses, not only organizations, but how it can improve people's life. And maybe that's the reason that I choose technology for my career path.
I understand. I mean, you have lived far from your family in other countries. So did I. So I was. I think we've been very blessed with having new technologies in our hand and being able to contact them and see them in person. Using video chat apps. I mean, this was not something that was possible like 20 years ago. So I agree with you. I mean, there has been so much. Happening in our lives, even as individuals, with ICT, that makes it, super exciting and interesting.
Would you share with us a lesson that you learn along the way that you would like to share with our audience?
Sure. So one of the great takeaways that I've had in years of my activity in the IT field, and generally working uh, in the organizational environments, and even studying, etc., is that I shouldn't be trying to solve all of the problems by myself. And I also realized how important it is to have a great network around me as well as allies. Being connected to peers as well as more junior and senior people is gonna be super helpful in learning more about the career that you're interested in, as well as getting better job opportunities. So this is when you're just looking for a job, but even after uh, getting a good job, it doesn't stop, and you still need a good network around you and allies to be able to progress in the organization, get visibility, etc. So this is something that I learned along the way. So now I'm trying to develop good relationship with different people who I'm working with, and I'm trying to ask for their honest feedback on how I'm doing. That has been super helpful to me. I mean, the type of feedback that they have given me have tried me to uh, improve a lot, improve my different skills. There are things that we don't see about each other because, I mean, we're so used to the way that we behave. So even if there's something that needs improvement, we're not seeing it. But I mean, when something that you're working with closely give you honest feedback, you discover that about yourself and you try to improve that. It helps a lot to for being heard in the organization. When you have good allies and people, you have good relationship with people, and you have kind of create trust. They kind of back you up in meetings, and it's going to help you to being heard and kind of push your ideas into action. So this is something that I recommend girls who are interested in getting into the ICT field as well. Try to have a good network around you, and try to have allies, both women and men.
Yeah, that's a great advice. I'm also trying to expand my network, and I think this is one of the most important things to do while getting into professional field. Another question is, have you encountered any challenges along the way? And if so, how did you overcome them?
So I'd say the main challenge for me in the field of technology has been the ever changing nature of technologies and protocols and knowledge areas, etc., around the technology. While it makes the ICT field very exciting and very dynamic, at the same time you have to keep up, right? So when I started my journey in the ICT field, cybersecurity was not even a university program. So I didn't hear of any cybersecurity program at a time. But now, I mean, I'm working in this field, and there's so many students who are being educated in colleges and universities, and even in this field, the nature of technologies are changing so quickly. So years ago, everything was on the prominent architecture was client and server, for example. Now everything is being moved to the cloud. Things are changing so quickly, and it's super fast paced. So I have had to study a lot, learn a lot. So my learning and studying didn't finish when I got my degree. So now I try to study for certificates, get professional certificates related to different tools that are relevant in my area. That's I think the main challenge, keeping up with the pace and keeping yourself relevant. Because if you stop learning, you're gonna become kind of obsolete, like a technologies that are becoming obsolete. So yeah, I think never learning never stops when you're working in the ICT field.
Yes, I agree with you. So this is one of the advices for our audience. And to sum up, we given a lot of advices already, but just to in a summary, So do you have any career or tech advice for girls and younger women in tech?
To develop a curiosity about technology. So it's not just your studies or your courses in university or at school, but try to follow um, technology blogs or watch YouTube videos on emerging technologies and areas that you're interested in. So this is one of the advices that I can think about. The other is that try to build your own personal brand. Uh, try to attend networking events, conference events. I understand with the COVID and the pandemic, things are not the way they used to be, but still there are many virtual events, online events that you can attend, and they're even more convenient, and many of them are just free. So try to attend these events, make connection with people, and also try to uh, advertise for yourself your certifications, your achievements, etc. in LinkedIn, or try to uh, kind of your accomplishments and credentials known, and do volunteer work like what you're doing. This is gonna be super helpful, even if it's not exactly related to the technology, but it's gonna help you to build your personal brand. Maybe another uh, advice is try to speak up. Believe in your abilities and speak up for yourself. If you're feeling that your um, ideas are being ignored, very respectfully speak up and try to take credit for your own ideas. So I would like to hear from you as well. So what do you think, Karina, for young women who want to get into the technology industry? What kind of suggestions, recommendations do you have for them?
Yeah, firstly, I think your advices are really useful for young girls who wants to pursue their career in tech. As for my side, I think my example and Ms. Nasseri's example showed us that it's never too late to learn something new or to change your career path. So I was from shipping field, and now I'm doing mostly the ICT. So I think, as you mentioned before, the curiosity is what's most important. So I think you should be really passionate about what you're doing, and also upgrade your skills, and do networking. Try to talk more with experienced professional, with people who can teach you new things, new skills, as now we are talking having this interview, so we also know something new. So I think it's very important to keep up with today's world, ever changing environment, especially in technology.
Yeah, this is great advice, Karina, and you had a very good point. It's never late to get into the IT field and learn something new, or even change your career path and get to the area that you're really passionate about. I've seen many not so young women in different networking events I used to go before COVID. So they've been very experienced in the fields that they were working in, but they were interested in changing their career to cybersecurity. So I was amazed by seeing how hardworking they were in educating themselves, taking courses in this area, networking, and trying to get into this field. So while it's a great advice for young people, but I mean, it's applicable to any individual or women who are just trying to get into this field. It's never late and never stop learning.
Yeah, so I completely agree with you. I hope all of our advices will be really useful for our viewers.
Thank
So
you.
that wraps up our session today for Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. Thank you so much, Hoda. I really enjoyed our chat today. And thanks so much to our viewers for watching.
No problem. I really enjoyed our discussion as well, Karina. Thank you very much.